Well, my background academically is being a social worker and a psychologist, but I got into my work really because of my own life experience. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and about the first month I was in recovery, I had this sense, this feeling that what I really wanted to be doing was helping one other woman feel the way I was feeling. And at that point in time, I had no idea it would lead me to where I am today. At the time, I had a master's degree in social work I wasn't using because I actually thought I was crazy, so I stopped working with people. And I was an interior designer and an antique dealer. And I was living on the East Coast, married, 2 kids, and I knew I needed to change my life. And a year later, my life had changed dramatically. I was in recovery. I'd moved back to California where I grew up. I was divorced, and I was in a PhD program studying the psychology of women and studying addiction. For me, recovery is stopping the addictive behavior. It's getting the alcohol, the drugs, whatever it is. It's changing that, but it's more than that. That to me is the first step, and in some ways is the easiest step. But after that happens, it then helping women get to the place where they're growing and developing and expanding so that their inner life, which are their thoughts, feelings, values, and beliefs are connected to their outer life, which to me is behavior and relationships, and getting those 2 things connected and congruent so the women are building integrity in their lives. In 1988, I was doing some work at a women's conference in North Carolina, and after I finished my talk, I met a woman who was a warden in a women's prison, and I was really taken with the idea that I hadn't even considered women in prison. And then later that evening, she brought some women out of the prison to another talk I was doing in the community. And as I stood there with them, I had this thought, which was, why are you in there and I'm out here? And the next thing that came in my mind, it was privilege. And when I went back to California, I was haunted by that and realized I wanted to do work in that women's prison when I went back to North Carolina in '89. And then I also realized I really wanted to stay in the prison, and I became very persuasive and spent a lot of time and energy convincing the warden to let me stay in the prison. So in '89, I had the opportunity to live in the prison for several days. I believe there are 2 things that women participating in any of my programs can learn. First is that she's a valuable woman, and second, that change is possible, that recovery from addiction and healing from trauma can happen for her. And I've written 2 programs with this. There's Beyond Trauma, which focuses specifically on trauma, and then A Woman's Way Through the 12 Steps, which helps women to understand the 12 steps from a woman's point of view. So those programs have been very effective at working with women both in the community and in prison settings. Anytime in life things begin to come full circle, we sort of get glimpses or pieces of what's happened in that time period. So here I am 30 years later from this woman who was a struggling alcoholic, looked good on the outside, miserable on the inside. I had all the trappings of what life says as a woman you want, and I was miserable. And here I am 30 years later having people feel like I've made a major contribution. And that's, what more can we want in life than to be of service? I really believe that when you find your place in the world and you work from a place of passion, and it's really being on the right path at the right time, doing the right work, the universe supports you. And my work is about, I have incredible support in the universe to do what I'm doing. And I'm grateful, very grateful.